my Patreon friends. I want to say thank you to the new subscribers I have on here and everybody that took time to watch the other videos, even if it's one time or whatever. Thank you very much. It's because of that I've made a couple of the YouTube videos. So you people that are watching me on Patreon right now and interacting with me is the reason why a couple of the YouTube videos that are going up now exist. They're not probably as cool as the ones on here, and they're not going to be nearly as long, but at least we're trying to keep the knowledge and the information going. So I want to say thank you to each one of you. I'm trying to respond to all the messages that are put on here. Still figuring it out a little bit. I'm new to Patreon here, like you are, probably some of you, I think. So we'll figure it out. Okay, what I wanted to go over here was something that's slightly different. It's an experience I had that was not physical, and I've kind of steered off talking about my experiences that are on the astral type or the dream type or telepathy and telethought, just because to me that's never been as tangible as when I've been physically on one of these craft and physically in the presence of a non-human. It's completely different when you get something that's telethought, but sometimes I've had some interesting stuff happen that can be backed up, and this is just one that I think is really worth talking about. This happened, oh gosh, it's been many years ago now, probably about 2007 I think it was. I was meditating, and like during my dream practices and everything I was doing, I was seeing this wavy green light. It just I kept seeing it in my mind's eye again and again, feeling it a little bit too. I started seeing it, I was having dreams about it, seeing it just before I fell asleep. So I kept seeing this wavy dream light, and it came to a point to where it wasn't just during meditation anymore or in my third eye. I was kind of seeing it actually physical here, with my physical eyes as well. I would see it sometimes in dark rooms, and it wouldn't seem to go away. It just kept popping up. And after a while I started noticing that it definitely had a feeling of being alive. So I used my telethought specifically to ask this thing what it was. I did an entire communication with light beings that you can do that's actually mentioned in the Keys of Enoch, which is something I'll talk about in another video in the Urim Thummim sections. It's a deal you can use to summon light beings. So I used this to summon this thing, and also to communicate with it telepathically. And this is what I got, which was actually fairly easy when I tried to communicate with it. This wavy green light called itself Oshar. O-S-H-A-R, all right? And it claimed to be from the planet Obanar. That's the word that it gave, all right? Now, for me, this kind of blew me away a little bit, because when I always think of aquatic species, I don't necessarily think of one as a wavy green light, but the truth is we start going to different evolutions of consciousness, all sorts of things can happen. Pattern of creation, pattern of forms and plasma and light configurations that are actually used to house consciousness. So it's not for me to judge that, all right? Anyway, this wavy green light, now this is what it communicates to me. This is where it gets pretty heavy, is that it is here, its people is here to give, because human light is dying, and they're here to do transonial enlightenment to the human race. And then I'm getting these visions of these caricatures of these beings building a quasi-crystal in one of our oceans. And I think it was dimensionally out of sync with the third dimension, but nonetheless they're building this quasi-crystal, and it's got a light coming from the inside. Now remember, I'm always into the lights that have a chemical bioluminescence inside, the crystals that have a chemical bioluminescence inside of them. Talked about that a lot, I'm very into that. But that's what this appeared to have. When I say this quasi-crystal, they're building, I mean, it looked huge, probably a mile around, I don't know, but they're all doing this, and then this being is telling me that there are governmental agencies that have found a way to call his beings what I think something like must be similar to a scalar frequency that can distract them and disrupt the work they're doing on the crystal. Okay? At the same time, before this, he shows me this planet, Obanar. I say he because this energy felt male, all right? Oshar felt male. But he shows me a planet. And all this is coming through telethought and telepictures. Everyone that's real telepathy knows real telepathy comes in telepictures mostly, not in words. Occasionally, some of the things he was communicating came in words, but most of the time it's visions, okay, and telethought. And I'm seeing this planet. It's a water world. And I get the impression maybe it's outside of our space-time continuum, going into the multiverse thing. But nonetheless, inside, as I look inside, this is a total water planet. But before you can get to the crust of it, is these crystalline cities. They're huge, but they're strictly used to house consciousness. That's what I saw. That's what he communicated to me. All right. Now, this kind of blew me away just because this was a vivid astral telethought communication. This is very real. When this thing's communicating with me, it's floating here. I can see it. You know, this wavy green light, quite beautiful. I like the color green anyway, so that's cool. Anyway, taking this on forward. So I start looking more. This ocean that they were building this crystal in, for me, it didn't feel like it was the Pacific or the Atlantic. For some reason, it felt like it was the Red Sea to me, or maybe even the Dead Sea. I don't know. There's more salt, maybe. I don't know, but that's just what it felt like. So I started looking into stuff like that, and I came across later what was called the Ardent Sea Stargate incident, which is where a bunch of ships were supposed to be sent into the Ardent Sea and to close a Stargate that was being formed in the ocean there. And that's pretty close to the Red Sea and the whole area, as you see on the map I put up there. So that kind of blew me away, and that kind of led into also a whistleblower by the name of Aaron McCollum. I think McCollom. He's kind of interesting. You know, it's not for me to say where the secret space and program stuff begins and ends, but some of the things that he says could possibly correlate to the experience I had with this green light being Oshar. I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyway, so that's something that just is something you can look at. So look in the conspiracy circles for this Ardent Sea Stargate incident. Look for that up. You can look it up and just check it out. I mean, it's very odd. And the fact that that would just even come up and correlate to what this being was telling me, I think gives it some amount of validity. So I thought it'd be worth talking about that. I'm going to try to look at my notes here to make sure I've told everything that I can remember about this. Okay. Something that I'm not going to ever lie to you. When this being communicated to me, it was here to depart Transonial enlightenment to the human race. Excuse my language, what the hell does that mean? I never even heard that word before. I looked it up, I can't find the word Transonial, all right? So I had to delve in more to what I saw them doing with this crystal, the light that's being emitted from the crystal, and I think what we're dealing with is something that the Uranta book calls, not the Uranta, Keys of Enoch calls Urim circuitry, URIM circuitry, and that's connected to Urim Thummim, which I'm going to do a video here in a few minutes for YouTube about. It's going to be quick, about Urim Thummim, and that's actually the crystal chambers that exist within the earth. The crystalline chambers, each one is different, and that's been mimicked, I think, in the Christian Bible as a breastplate that was worn by this priest, and had all these different jewels in it, 12 jewels in it. But that's actually the chambers within the earth that helps keep our harmonic resonance of the earth together, the vibration. That's my understanding of the Urim Thummim and what I've been shown through spirit and these beings, all right? And also what that book, Keys of Enoch, says also. So in the Keys of Enoch, look up Urim Thummim and Urim circuitry. I think that Urim circuitry is a lot of what we're dealing with here concerning this Transonial enlightenment. So I think whatever they're doing it's got to do with the frequency of resonance that they're doing that must be much more on I would say the God level, the Christ consciousness type of level. So that's what I come up anyway. I can tell you that's for sure that's what it means, but man, it was just all very interesting experience to the point of where I mentioned this experience on like my second interview with Peter Maxwell Slattery, the second interview I'd ever done actually, and he actually took this one off because there was someone on there that is exactly a fan of mine or his on there, so he deleted it. But on there, I had mentioned Oshar and Obenar. And I mentioned Oshar. There was a lot of people started commenting that they'd encountered a wavy green light similar and had heard that name even. The Oshar, it comes through pretty easily telepathically. So this is just something I wanted to kind of correlate that, or correlate that to Urim Thummim and the Urim circuitry and kind of what these beings were doing, how they were kind of filtering in. So you can check that out. I hope this helps someone. It's just an experience I thought it was worth relaying, because I've only relayed my physical experiences because those for me were tangible. But the ones that are telepathic, the ones that are visions, things of that nature, those aren't quite as reliable, the astral experiences. I've talked about that, but they can be very real and validated sometimes. So there's a very fine line there that needs to be discerned. So I just want to throw that out for you, and thank you all for checking me out here. Hopefully I put all this together, at least relatively good, with the Urim circuitry. If you have the Keys of Enoch book, please check out Urim Thummim and check out Urim circuitry, like I already said 3 times, I think. And also thank you, because the video I'm about to make for YouTube on Urim Thummim, although it will be quick, it's because of you all here that have come here and joined me here. So thank you very much. Peace!